some penalties. Not sure.
Subhash Bam, Nishant Tamang, Harish Raj Bata, the captain, number 8, Prashant Laksam, number 6, Ashwin Gorasi, Niraj Karki, Semanta Tapa, Deepak Tapa Magar, and Krishal Moftan for a goalkeeper.
The Sri Lankan team here, Sudhakar Royson Bright, Mohammad Faithi, Yasir Sarfas, Kunanation Vidurshikan, Mohammad Mufas, Fazul Rahman, Sadiu Tatsura, Atif Ahmed, Sarat Kumar, the captain, Mohammad Abdullah, a very good centre back, and also Mohammad Riaz, the goalkeeper, all making the 11th for Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka will attack from the left to right, Nepal from right to left. Here we go, it's kick-off time in Colombo. It's kick-off time at the semi-final second match. Straight away, play goes down. It's already Sadiu Tatsura being warned by the referee.
Yeah, we're hoping for a much better game in the first opening 20 minutes, Jana, because we did see both teams, India and Bangladesh, struggling to get a foothold of the game. So you see here Nepal conceding possession early on in the game, really not what you want to see, but then getting it back. It's good work there by Nepal.
So Sri Lanka having the advantage of home ground, home support. Meanwhile, Nepal, with the way they played against India, looks like a slightly better team in terms of how they played. So almost balanced here.
There we have the long ball, the first long ball of this game. Expect to see plenty more of that because it is a feature of the under-17 South Asian Games. Of course, with long balls, you would want to find your target man, especially if you're a passer. And usually, the long balls will be played by your midfielders who are capable of that long ball, and also your defenders as well. It'll be interesting to see how both teams cope with it as well, because you have to defend that long ball unless you get a generous bounce on it. But Sri Lanka have some work to do here against Nepal. They would have been watching that match against India and realized that they can stage a comeback. So even if Sri Lanka does get that first goal, they'll have to be wary about a Nepal side that never gives up, Jana.
Yes, right, he said. Kavinka here. Nice crossfield pass going from Ashwin, but cannot be kept in by Niraj on that instance. So Sri Lanka playing a one-man strike at times. What looks like a front three. Now Nepal. You can see Sri Lanka really pressing strongly here. Oh, once again, almost the same treatment they gave to the other two teams. Pressing high and making the keeper to make an unforced error. Almost made an error here. Nepal, there you go, possession-based football. They like to play their tiki-taka, isn't it?
Definitely, and that can outsmart some of that Sri Lankan pressing. We saw that all three Sri Lankan attackers were pressing that Nepal defense, and it did work. However, Nepal were lucky to escape. But what Nepal can do when that pressing does happen is to exploit that midfield of Sri Lanka, because when you have team players pressing, you need to be constantly wary of that threat that is posed in the midfield, because you can lose your midfielders and that can open up space in the midfield. And that is exactly what Sri Lanka ran into in the previous play. Good there, good work there by Sri Lanka, but number 10 for Sri Lanka, Mohammad Mufas, not getting hold of that ball. Here's Mohammad Mufas again. Another bad touch.
And also another thing about pressing is it really drains your energy. So if you're physically very good and if you have the endurance, definitely the team can really press high. And there you go, Aruna Sampath on the sidelines. Urjan Shrestha of Nepal.
Well, fair to say that, Jana, that the pitch has been very kind to the players today, especially in that the opening or the last few minutes of the India-Bangladesh match, because we saw that the pitch was not quite good towards the end of the games, especially in the night matches. Well, of course it'll have to be concluded, the pitch assessment will have to be concluded at the end of 90 minutes, because the pitch can get a bit muddy, but it hasn't rained in Sri Lanka for about 2 to 3 days, and that will spell out some good omens for both the teams.
And also pitch being very dry encourages the teams to really play those through balls, long passes through the ground, and can trust your pitch and make some nice passes. Here we go. It's a corner for Nepal.
Deepak Thapa on the ball.
Nicely done by Abdullah. Abdullah once again ever present in the defense line. Now Sri Lanka trying to go on the counter. Do they have enough pace? Too many against one on that instance. Now trying to put the ball again. Can be kept in.
What Mohammad Mufas could have done there is to hold the ball, because he knew that he didn't have any support on his flanks. So what a number 9 would do in that instance would be hold the ball, Jana, and I think that would be the instructions given to him by the Sri Lanka coach Aruna Sampath.
Sri Lanka deciding to come into this game and play very, very physically. You can already see they are trying to win balls. They are really charging onto those challenges. Now pass going from Samantha. Samantha's pass to Ashwin. Ashwin once again plays that long ball. Almost falls for Nepal. Comes across and does the mop-up work there. And now going forward, Sarath Kumar's pass. Falling now onto Sri Lanka. But eventually Nepal's Nishant makes a back pass to keeper.
It has been all Nepal here, Jana, because they have come to this game with a game plan. It looks like it is working off. Shan Laksam has seen most of the ball here. Well, they're controlling the midfield, and it is no surprise that when you control the midfield, you control the game. You can see that in the international stage with certain players like Toni Kroos, Luka Modric in the international game playing for their club Real Madrid, and you can see how they control the game, and that's how they win matches.
And rightly said, Kavin. And also I think especially a team like Nepal really relying on their passes are really based on how their midfield performs. And once again cross comes in, but this time keeper Riha spills out. Nepal has a good chance, trying to pull the trigger, but the shot not really perfectly hit by the Nepalese number 2 Subhash, number 22 I should say.
As you can see, the crowd is cheering Sri Lanka on, trying to get their team back into this match, because they seem to be all over the place. Sri Lanka number 2 Mohammad Abdullah asking, boys, where are you all? Where is the defense? Because it looks like the defense is scattered. Nepal have been playing well. Their attack has been formidable. Their midfield has been passing very well. There's Prashant Laksam on the ball. Seems to be leading by example, by threading those passes through. Is Nepal once more.
Good bit of defense there. Nice header to clear the ball away. And taking no chances there. Atif Ahmed make sure the threat is nullified, at least temporarily.
Yeah, just hoofing it away into the Colombo night sky. Here's Prasant Laksam leading it to under 14 Chiru Thappa. Thappa again trying to look for a cross. Number 3 Deepak threads it in.
Once again not really hitting it perfectly. I think Nepal are now trying to take on those long shots because of the crowded penalty box. Sri Lankan players dropping back to make sure a shot is not taken. Even if the shot is taken, it doesn't make its way into the net. And here we go once more now going forward. Nepal here. It's Unesh, a very good player. Unesh match played very well. Now ball with Subhash. Subhash dribbling past many players. Comes in Niraj. Niraj's cross put out by Mohammed again. But Nepal aren't done here.
But it seems like it's a matter of time until Nepal does find the breakthrough in Colombo, because they've been playing much better than their counterparts. Here is Nepal once more threading it into the box, but once again Sri Lanka hoofing it away. Living dangerously here, Sri Lanka. It's only 10 minutes past. It's number 2 Muhammad Abdullah coming up trumps once again there.
I think Abdullah is the only, I'd say, a very strong defender inside the box. Most of the clearance are coming from Abdullah. This is where the other Sri Lankans, other players have to stand up and then really contribute. What they can do is the midfield, really, if you feel the threat coming in, try and shut the doors, try and shut those channels where the ball is being played in. Once again losing possession, going forward here Nepal. Ball with Prashant, the captain. Good ball going forward.
Well, it's those second balls, Jana, the pieces that have to be picked up after that long ball is made through. So that's where the midfield comes in. Now you would want to put the long balls, of course, into the path of someone of the stature like Mohammad Muraz, Mohammad Mufaz, and then you would want one of your midfielders to collect the scraps of that and maybe feed that second ball into Mufaz's path. But it does not seem that Sri Lanka's midfield is existent at this point.
Semanta. Pass goes to Ashwin. Ashwin passes it to Deepak, but Deepak fouled here. Another long ball. Looking dangerous Nepal here. Now through the left channel going in. It's Harish. But in comes Sarath Kumar, the captain, to make a tackle.
Slotted in by Nepal into the big Nepalese players in the box. Nepal attempt a cross in.
I think he slipped on his own there.
That's, yeah, Semanta Thapa, unlucky, slipped of his own doing, really.
A good idea, but the execution not there. A player on the left really almost freeing up, apart from the defenders of Sri Lanka. Once again passes coined by Nepal here, going for another attack.
Well, no matter what sort of ball you play, it always seems to find a player in blue, whether a player in white takes a touch or not. it does seem to find one of the Nepal players. It's like as if they're the magnet and the ball is made out of metal, Jana.
Yeah, rightly told. And the other thing I noticed is Sri Lanka is they are trying to maintain some sort of a shape here. A back four, then another back four, and another four, I should say. Here we go, Nepal coming in, threatening once again. So, even though Nepal really trying as hard as they can, Sri Lankans still holding their ground here.
Prashant Laksan takes a shot and it's over the bar.
Good effort, isn't it?
It's the greatest effort by the Nepalese captain. It's a slight error in the technique. Should have opted to curl it instead of going for a direct shot, really. But it's not as if they don't have plenty of chances coming in. Here is a ball threaded through. Once again, the Sri Lankan defense alert, as they have been in this opening 15 minutes of this game. Ball is shot on target. It's really troubling the goalkeeper, Mohammad Rihaz.
Yeah, but do you think that it is because of their inability to really break down the Sri Lankan defense? That's why Nepal are going for that long-range efforts?
Well, of course, it looks like the Sri Lankan defense is opting for a park the bus method, Jana, because it doesn't look like their defense is made of just back four. Looks like a back eight sometimes, and that's what they have to do at times, because the Nepalese players are just coming at them attempt after attempt, as you can see here.
Yeah, and also I think in a match like this, when you know you are on the back foot, with already would have known with the start, Nepal are trying to be the team that is dictating terms. So all you have to play is for a win. So I think Sri Lanka playing wise here, even though yes, it's not one of the best brands of football, not one of the best in terms of tactics, but Sri Lanka hanging on because of that sort of a tactic.
Yeah, what Sri Lanka can do though is to maybe look for a counter attack, but for that they need support from their wide men and their number 10, their striker. Mohammad Mufaz, really the lone player out there, as his 10 other teammates defend like their life is on the line. That's the Sri Lankan bench. Won't be too happy with the performances that they've seen so far in this game.
And I think if Sri Lanka does come off with a 0-0 draw here in the first half, going into the dressing room, I think Sri Lankan coach would be the happier one. And now going forward, Tatsara really dangerous player for Sri Lanka. He played really well against Maldives, and now giving back possession.
Is Sri Lanka on the ball? Mohammad Mufaz trying to get into a goal scoring position, loses his footing and loses his boot as well in the process. Here is Sarath Kumar, but puts in a tame cross, really. No one there to meet that ball. But that was the first glimpse of goal for the Sri Lankan Lions. But here is Nepal on the ball for the upteenth time in this game. We've only played 18 minutes. Here is Nepal trying to look for an effort on goal. Comfortably saved by Mohammad Riaz. Mohammad Riaz has been the busiest of both the goalkeepers here at the Colombo Racecourse grounds, urging his defense to go forward and signaling to them as to why they aren't taking any goal scoring. And here is another ball threaded through, only to be met by another player in white.
But did you really see that game there on the last instance? There was a Sri Lankan defender stationing himself really behind the other three. But this, you know what this does? It really opens up the offside trap. It makes players onside. If the Nepalese player can break the 3 men, then they can be almost 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3.
It does, Jana, and what you would call that player is a sweeper. He would act as a player between the goalkeeper and the back three in some instances. And we have seen that in the 1970s. It's not something that you'd see now in this game, in the modern game, to be honest. We can see, if you of course search on the internet, you can find a lot of players such as Franz Beckenbauer was a great sweeper, but now the sweeper has been, and here is a chance for Nepal. Mohammad Rihaz fumbles the ball, and could it be a penalty? It is a goal kick, is it? Confusion all round.
Not sure what the referee pointed out. Let's look at it again.
Mohammad Rihaz making a mess of that. Still confused as to what is going on here. Referee, as we believe, signal for a goal kick. It does not seem like a penalty has been given, but it does seem like a penalty has been given to Nepal.
Yes, it was Subhash, the man. But the only sad thing, or the only disappointing thing, is we were just talking about how the sweeper could really make the other players on, and because of the sweeper, they were almost into a 2 versus 1 or 2 versus 2 situation. It's going to be taken by Prashant, the captain. Mohammad Rihaz, a good goalkeeper for Sri Lanka. It's going to be a very, very important penalty kick.
Must be kicking himself and asking himself why he didn't save that. But he has to save this one if he wants to keep Sri Lanka level on the game with Nepal. Prashant Laksam has been ever present in this game, and it is only right if he puts Nepal in front here. Prashant Laksam for Nepal with a slow run up. Prashant Laksam, goal for Nepal. And Nepal have given Sri Lanka a mini mountain to climb here. Mohammad Rihaz hands in head.
I think keeper should have done better going in the right side, and also on a very comfortable distance from him as well. I think he waited a bit until the ball was struck, rather than really anticipating and going and whatsoever. Prashant now scoring the first goal for Nepal, and Sri Lanka playing with the sweeper, still conceding a goal.
Of course, in those instances where the penalty is given, and if you are the penalty goalkeeper, just pick a side and dive to it, is what any goalkeeping coach or any pro goalkeeper would say. Sri Lanka have an uphill task here. Nepal have been on the ball position. They are having their position-based football, and it looks like Sri Lanka really do have a task on their hands. Is Nepal, the right back, coming through the wing. Nepal with a chance again to shoot, and it's another goal for Nepal. The Nepali forward here, it's Unesh who gets the second goal, and it's 2 goals for Nepal in the space of 3 minutes.
We were talking about how dangerous he is, Unesh. Just few minutes ago we were telling how bad or how dangerous he would be for Sri Lanka. There you go, Unesh. Long shot, puts in enough venom and just deposits the ball inside the net. Sri Lanka now really no point defending, have to come out, have to play some attacking game. That's what is the only way. Vidurshikan's ball now finds Atif. In fact, that's Yasser.
Sri Lanka really have to come up with a game plan here, Jana, if they want to even make this a competition for their Nepali counterparts. Because no clear attempts on target at all by Sri Lanka, and Nepal once again, Prashant Laksan on the ball. Nepal just toying around with the Sri Lankan defense. He's number 12, Nishant Tamang, left back for Nepal. Looks up front, finds Thapa. Thapa on a marauding run up front. Doesn't seem to get that ball. But Sri Lanka really do have their work cut out now, and Aruna Sampath, the coach.
You know what, Kavinga? When Sri Lanka really stays inside their territory, or they know that Nepal knows Sri Lanka is not going to come out, they can commit even more men forward, because they don't have the threat of counter-attack. They don't have the threat of really getting back in time. So they can really put in as much as men forward for the attack and get another 2 goals before half-time.
Yeah, definitely, but it would be an uphill task for Sri Lanka to do anything, because they haven't seen the ball in that Nepal half, really, maybe on just 2 occasions. Yes, Nepal once again shouts for handball, but is cleared away once more by Sri Lanka. They might be 2 goals up, but Anil Tamang Lama, the Nepal coach, still on the touchline, asking his players to be merciless in this encounter. Still shouting instructions, asking his players to play. Maybe this must be signal to India as well, if they are to make it to the final, that is Nepal. Maybe it must be a signal to India saying, maybe we did beat you once, maybe with performances like this we could beat you twice. Here's Nepal once again, feeds it into a player in white, but as we've said so many times here, there's another cross played into the box, dangerous looking one. It has been all Nepal here in the Colombo Racecourse grounds.
We can already see some Sri Lankan players warming up on the touch lines, which is not really shown on the camera, but from Combox here. Once again, Sri Lanka looking sloppy to get out of their lines. Here we go. A foul going towards Sri Lanka. Mohammad Mufas, the player who was fouled.
Yeah, the referee Alamgir just telling Nepal players to calm down, and there is no reason that they wouldn't be calm, because their team is in a 2-goal lead. Last thing you would want is for any of these players to miss a potential final and a chance to get back.
Vidushigan's ball. Now with Nepal trying to go on account of their own here. Nice passing from Nepal, motoring through the right hand side, but the ball really taking it away from the ongoing winger, and it will be a goal kick.
Well, it's been a one-sided game, of course, but take nothing away from Nepal, who have been doing a splendid job on the back of a win against the mighty India, and showing why they can be potential winners in this match. They've shown class and pizzazz in their play, with their passing, their shooting, the manner of which the goals were scored as well, especially that second goal.
And it will be a drop ball. Abdullah's pass to Royson Bright. This time on the ball is Royson again. Now ball with Unesh, the goal scorer. Going forward now is Lachu. Lachu trying to find a long range effort once more. Just scraping the top of the goal post here.
You might have taken some paint along with it, that ball. Almost finding their way into that third goal, Nepal.
Very, very sloppy sometimes.
Well, what Sri Lanka need here is someone who can control the midfield and get some tempo into their game, because it seems like the opening 30 minutes of this game has been very one-sided because of that midfield battle. It has been Prashant Laksam and Lachu Thappa. Here is another chance for Nepal, and it's a goal for Nepal. He has fizzed that into the net. Subhash Bam, beg your pardon. Take a bow, son. Wonderful technique. Nepal 3, Sri Lanka 0.
Once again, all I see is the left back of Sri Lanka on that instance had to make sure the cross doesn't come in. At any cost, he had to make sure the cross doesn't come in, but he almost easily lets the cross come in, and Subhash, even in front of the two centre backs, Subhash really taking the shot. Both centre backs not really coming and closing down. These are small things that Sri Lanka can change to be better in defence. Because when you know that a guy really is getting ready to shoot in front of your box, you close in.
Yeah, textbook stuff, Jana, really. And Nepal at this point must be thinking it's practice matches here. Maybe a practice game for the final. Do not write Sri Lanka off. Sri Lanka, a nation of comebacks, but can their under-17 national football team try and carve their way into this? One goal could do in this first half, but if one goal goes to the blue side, then it could spell the end of this tournament run. As we see here on screen, substitution coming on. Looks like it's number 20, Mohammad Sadir, will be coming on for the Sri Lankan Lion Cubs. Sri Lanka not finding that final pass.
Now going forward for Nepal, Prashant finding Unesh. Unesh's pass not really getting through to the teammate. Unesh once more on the ball. Now through the right side, Unesh once more trying to get on the ball here. Atif Ahmed's pass to Yasir. Vitushigan through ball. Ball with Nepal now. Nice passing here from Nepal. Lachu's back pass to Semantha. Another pass from Lachu here. Lachu really given a free role. Seems like he's playing in left back, midfield, almost everywhere. A player who has been given the freedom to get into places, and there you go, the change coming in. Vitushikan out, and in goes number 20 of Sri Lanka, Mohammad Sadir.
Yeah, the coach Aruna Sampath signaling that he really needs an injection of enthusiasm and motivation into this squad. So he's brought on Mohammad Sadish. Looks to, beg your pardon, Mohammad Sadir, who looks to be taking a midfield role here.
I'm pretty sure it was Vidushikan who was playing on that left back role. So it was almost a weakened position. Most of Nepal's attack has been coming through that channel. So he is being substituted out. Maybe some other player replaces him and Sadi takes the midfield position here.
Yeah, but like you said, Jana, the sweeper is still present there. Looks like number 2, that's Mohammad Abdullah. He's the sweeper, has taken on that sweeper role, and he's been doing quite well, but it also comes with its risk. Like you said, Nepal can evade that offside trap and try and score another goal through a through ball or similar ball to that.
Yeah, rightly told, Kavinka. That's what is the threat. Easily he can be almost 1-on-1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3 if the